Hello there students and welcome back to this video series. This is your instructor Dhruvi Bhatt and today we would be talking about organizational structure and its types. Quite similar to types of organization, but organizational structure actually defines the hierarchy inside an organization. It defines that how different activities are delegated to each and every department, how to identify the departments which are necessary in any type of organization, how to give out different responsibilities to them, etc. Let's start firstly with the definition of organizational structure. Organizational structure is a system that outlines how activities are directed in order to achieve the goals of the organization. These activities can include rules, roles, and responsibilities. The organizational structure also determines how information flows between different levels within the company. Organizational structure is actually defining what is the hierarchy inside the organization, what are different departments in the organization, what are different roles and responsibilities of different people in the organization, etc. Let us identify different types of organizational structure. Different types of organizational structure are given under different heads. Firstly, on basis of distribution of authority. If you remember, we define types of organization on basis of distribution of authority. They are line organization. Here we have line organizational structure, staff organizational structure, or line and staff organizational structure. Here organization and organizational structure can be used interchangeably only for line staff and line and staff. Line staff and line and staff are both the types of organization as well as types of organizational structure. Secondly, we have organizational structure based on departmentalization. Based on departmentalization, we have different types of organizational structures. First is functional departmentalization, second is divisional departmentalization. Divisional departmentalization can be further categorized into process departmentalization, product departmentalization, geographic departmentalization, lastly customer based departmentalization. Also we have a combination of these four as hybrid departmentalization or matrix departmentalization. Lastly, we have organizational structures based on span of control. If you remember, span of control is number of managers and higher level manager can take care of or can control. Based on span of control, we have two organizational structures. First is tall or narrow organizational structure. Second is flat or wide organizational structure. As usual, we will be understanding each of these organizational structures along with their advantages and disadvantages. Line and staff we have already understood in the previous lecture. So I will start with second category, which is organizational structure based on departmentalization. According to Professor Pierce and Robbins, departmentalization is grouping of jobs, processes, and resources into logical units to perform some organizational tasks. So, all the jobs are grouped together into a logical unit so that resources can be properly distributed there. In departmentalization, similar activities are grouped together to form various departments. Basically, departmentalization has two divisions, functional departmentalization and divisional departmentalization. Functional departmentalization is similar to staff organizational structure. In functional departmentalization, departments are organized or separated from each other based on functions or tasks they perform. Here is the example of functional departmentalization where we have different departments like production department, finance department, marketing department, human resource department, R&D department, maybe IT department, etc. Functional departmentalization has some advantages and disadvantages. Let us look upon them. Firstly, it is the simplest form of departmentalization. Identify the functions in your organization, make departments according to those functions, as simple as that. Secondly, it makes sure that there is an optimum utilization of human resources, very less utilization of human resources. There is emphasis on each and every activity. Each activity is provided with a different department of its own, different employees of its own. Moreover, it facilitates delegation of authority because based on the specialization in particular activity, authority is delegated. It also eliminates the duplication of effort in different departments, because whatever the departments are, as the function is carried out at a central location, there is no duplication of work anywhere. Say for example, some organization is selling chips, it is also selling soaps, it is also selling beauty creams, maybe it is also selling shampoos. It is into selling different products. If we want to do marketing of all these different products, the entire marketing team will take care of marketing of all these products. So we can say that duplication of activity in each and every department will be minimized, because each activity is carried forward at a central location in the functional department. This type of departmentalization does have some disadvantages, like there will be conflict between departments. We already talked about this in staff organization, that each and every department will be eager to take up the credit when something good happens, and will be eager to give the credit to some other department when something bad happens. So there will be conflict amongst various departments for different reasons. Secondly, there can be overemphasis on specialization. Overemphasis on specialization might lead to underemphasis on organizational goals. There can be overemphasis by employees to their particular department, and they forget the organizational goal of profit making. They might be working too hard for the success of their own department that they forget about the actual organization. Thirdly, there is a very high supervision cost, because supervisors would be required in each of these departments. The supervision cost will be high here. Moreover, this type of departmentalization will not be responsive to environmental changes. If there are changes, there is lack of flexibility in such type of departmentalization, and it does not promote innovation and creativity. Every person in one functional department has to do the same function time and again. There is no innovation or creativity in such type of organization, because those who are specialized in a particular work do their work. They will only do what they know. They do not have any creative aspect and any innovations to try out. The last disadvantage says that doing the same work time and again will lead to boredom and monotony. Doing the same marketing time and again, coming to the organization and doing the same job time and again might lead to monotonous nature of work, and it might lead to boredom amongst the employees. The next type of departmentalization is divisional departmentalization, because functional departmentalization has some disadvantages. To overcome those disadvantages, we have divisional departmentalization. A divisional organization groups each organization function into a division. Each division contains all the necessary resources and functions within itself to support the particular product, or maybe geography, or maybe customer. Based on division, we have different subcategories of divisional departmentalization. The first type of divisional departmentalization is process departmentalization. Here, departments are specialized in particular process. Particularly, this type of departmentalization is carried out in organizations or in factories which are more process oriented, and where the same process is to be followed time and again. Example of process departmentalization can be inside a textile industry, where there are different departments like spinning department, weaving department, dyeing department, printing department, etc. Here, each department is specialized in doing their own work, and that particular department will carry out the same process time and again. Let us see the advantages and disadvantages of process departmentalization. The first advantage is that there is proper division of work. Because work is divided based on process, each and every department have equal amount of work. So division of work is proper. Secondly, there is effective use of specialized skills, equipments and resources. Resources designed for a particular process will be used in that particular process only. Secondly, the skills of the workers in that process will be utilized at its benefit. Thirdly, the full responsibility of process head to complete the activity improves product efficiency. Each process head is responsible for completing that particular process. So, over a period of time, they are responsible for completing the entire product and it will lead to timely and effective completion. Though it has some advantages, it has some disadvantages too. This type of departmentalization is appropriate only for manufacturing organizations. I told you this is possible only if you can segregate your organizational work into different processes. This is mostly possible in manufacturing organization or factories only. In some of the places, this type of departmentalization is not possible. Say, for example, educational institute. We do not have any stipulated, well-defined processes here time and again. So, this type of departmentalization is not possible in many of the organizations. Secondly, technical problem of one process may cause a halt of entire production. Because each and every process is interdependent, there might be a waiting time. Firstly, the next process has to wait for the previous process to be completed. Secondly, if any one process is stuck or if any one process is having any problem, the entire production process will be halted because they will not have any work. The third disadvantage tells us that there will be conflict amongst the managers. The next disadvantage says that responsibility of total profit cannot be assigned to any one department because each and every department here is actually equally responsible for the end product. Each and every process is equally important, and that is why any single department may not be held responsible for the profit of the organization. Lastly, carrying out the same process again and again will again lead to boredom and monotony. The same problem which was there in functional departmentalization is there in process departmentalization. Each people coming to job and carrying out the same process again and again, 1 month, 2 months, 2 years, 3 years, after that it will lead to boredom and it may lead to people being dissatisfied. Process departmentalization is thus not effective in each type of organization. The next type of departmentalization is product departmentalization. Again, only if you have very different or diversified lines of product, you can indulge in product departmentalization. Here, as the name suggests, the departments are separated based on the type of product produced by the company or the producer. Okay, so based on the type of product, different departments can be formulated. For example, if we talk about Honda, it makes two-wheelers as well as four-wheelers, so they might be having different departments based on different types of vehicles they manufacture. Here I have given you an example that there can be a two-wheeler department, three-wheeler department, four-wheeler department or heavy vehicles department in any firm which is manufacturing vehicles. There is a problem here, students, firstly, that there is duplication of work. This is a major disadvantage in any divisional departmentalization. There will be duplication of functions in each of these departments. Two-wheeler department will do a different marketing. Four-wheeler department will do a different marketing. There will be duplication of marketing function in each department. There will be duplication of resources in each department. If some department needs nuts and bolts, two-wheeler department will use their own nuts and bolts. There is a stock of nuts and bolts in the company, but four-wheeler department will ask for another stock because they do not have in-house supply. The basic concept of departmentalization was that according to each division, you will have separate set of resources and separate set of individuals or employees working. This will lead to duplication of resources, duplication of work, duplication of functions in each and every department. Let us talk about advantages and disadvantages in product departmentalization. Firstly, this type of departmentalization causes the employees to become specialized in that particular product or service. An employee will become a specialized in a particular product because he is involved in that product right from the R&D to the marketing, right from the stage where the product was still under development. This employee is associated with the department, and that is why he has the maximum knowledge or maximum expertise in that particular product. Secondly, this type of departmentalization facilitates to monitor and evaluate the performance of each and every product in by evaluating all these different departments. Thirdly, we already discussed this, that it makes the employee expert in that particular product or service because he is associated with that product from a very long time. Moreover, the product and service managers can be held accountable for the profitability because you can exactly trace which particular product is earning maximum benefits to the company. The product department of that product is accountable for maximum profits of the organization, and that particular department can be rewarded accordingly. Lastly, this type of departmentalization permits maximum use of specialized production facilities. Specialized facilities for creation of each products can be utilized properly in this type of departmentalization. Let us talk about disadvantages in such a setting. There can be conflict between production department and other departments of the organization because they might be too much focused on their own products. Secondly, there might be underutilization of plant capacity if the demand for a particular product or service is not sufficient. If a particular product or service is not in demand, then the entire resources which are held up in a particular product department will be wasted. There might be underutilization of the plant capacity because a particular product at a particular time might not be in a very high demand. Thirdly, this causes repetition of some activities. As I told you, marketing in each and every department will be different, advertising in each and every department will be different, finance of each department will be different, human resource management of each department will be different. Many activities will be repeated in each of these departments. Also, it maximizes administrative costs because there is too much paperwork involved in such type of departmentalization. Lastly, the product manager may ignore the overall objective of the organization. Let me give you an example. Suppose Hero Honda is selling both two-wheeler and four-wheelers. If I promote the use of four-wheelers, if I go to a customer and tell them that using two-wheelers is not very safe, that is why you must use four-wheelers. It will be helpful to you in all seasons, and also they have more safety and precautions compared to two-wheelers. So you must not buy a two-wheeler, but you must buy four-wheelers. Here you are selling a four-wheeler to the potential customer, but here you are killing a potential customer for the two-wheelers, which is also a product of your organization. Too much focus on your product and neglecting other products will actually neglect the final objectives of the firm. This should also not happen. The third type of departmentalization and divisional departmentalization is geographic departmentalization. As the name suggests, here the departments are based on their geographic location. Based on different geographic location, of course this is possible only in very huge organization. Based on their workings in different geographical location, the departments or different branches can be diversified according to the geographical locations. Examples of geographic departmentalization can be North Department, South Department, Southeast Department, East Zone Department, West Zone Department, etc. This can be in the same city, North, South, East, West, in the same city, in the entire country, Northern region, Southern region, or in the state, depending upon the reach of your organization. Let us talk about advantages and disadvantages here. Firstly, it helps to adhere to local needs. It helps to achieve local objectives. People look locally present there will be more aware of the customer needs, and that is why they will be more helpful in achieving the local needs and local objectives of the organization. The second advantage of geographic departmentalization is that it facilitates the expansion of business into various different regions or various different districts, and it can cater to the local needs of those regions. Thirdly, it considers and fulfills the environmental changes. If due to environmental changes, the demand for the product changes or the demand for the type of product changes, then such type of departmentalization makes sure that these changes are effectively managed. The next advantage says that there is better coordination of activities through the setting up of regional divisions. In the region, all the employees belong to the same region. Also, their thoughts, their likes, dislikes might be similar, and this would lead to better coordination amongst the members of the regional departments. Moreover, such type of department can meet the local demands more effectively compared to other types of divisional structures. The local divisional structure can meet up the local demands more effectively. Let's talk about the disadvantages now. The first disadvantage says that there may be a problem of integration of different regional offices. Because these regional offices are geographically dispersed, integrating the data of these regional offices will become quite a task. Secondly, there is a possibility of duplication of physical function. Marketing, finance, HR again repeated in each and every division, in each and every geographically dispersed division. The third problem is that it is more difficult to manage a central control over such regional decisions because they are geographically separated and quite far away from each other. Maintaining a central control in such divisions is very difficult. Moreover, there may be a lack of skilled and efficient person to take charge of regional departments because you need to hire some localite, someone from the same region to take care of the regional department. There is a possibility that he might be lacking skills to manage such type of department. The last disadvantage is that it is costly method of departmentalization. Only huge companies can afford such type of departmentalization where it will have geographically dispersed departments. Moving forward, the next type of departmentalization under divisional departmentation is customer based departmentalization. As the name suggests, in this type of departmentalization, departments are separated from each other based on the types of groups or customers to be handled or dealt with. The type of customers you need to deal with will decide the type of departments. For example, for dealing with foreign customers, you have another department. For dealing with wholesale customers, another department. For dealing with retail customers, other department. For dealing with domestic customers, other department. This type of organizational structure is usually used in customer care organizations like customer care executives on chat or customer care executives on phone, etc. Let us see the advantages and disadvantages of customer based departmentalization. It is suitable for the organization dealing with various types of customers. Obviously, as it is customer centric, organizations whose major focus is customers, for them this type of departmentalization is useful. Secondly, management can concentrate on clearly identified and potential customers. Here we are directly targeting the basic profit maker of the organization, who is the customer. Management in this type of organization can clearly identify and cater to the needs of potential customers. Moreover, it considers the environmental changes and the change in taste of the customers, and it changes the product accordingly. Moreover, special attention can be given to the taste and preferences of the customers. This is what I was talking about, that they can cater to the specific needs and changes in the customer needs. It provides the benefit of specialization. People who are specialized in particular foreign language or particular foreign customs can deal with foreign customers. People specialized in wholesale can deal with wholesale customers, etc. This will lead to specialization. Completing the advantages, let us now talk about the disadvantages related to customer departmentalization. The first disadvantage says that it may be difficult to maintain coordination amongst various departments who are actually dealing with entirely different types of customers. Secondly, there may be underutilization of facilities, especially during a period of low demand. If some customers are having very low demand, then the employees who are catering to those customers will be free and will be underutilized. Thirdly, there may be a possibility of duplication of activities. There is duplication of activities again in each and every department. For foreign customers, there is different advertisement team. For domestic customers, there is different advertisement team. Every division has a different advertisement team which increases the costs. Okay. There is a possibility of conflict between the objective of the customer and the organizational objective. This may lead to an imbalance in the organization because sometimes the representatives might give higher importance to the objectives of the customers rather than the organizational objectives. Overemphasis on such customers may lead to wastage of resources. Over-promising or overemphasis on the customers might lead to organization goals being dissatisfied. Moving forward, let us talk about a combination of functional departmentalization and divisional departmentalization. Both have advantages of their own. Let us combine them together in two types of departmentalization. The first type is hybrid departmentalization. Here you can do mix and match of your choice. Take any departmentalization type from functional departmentalization, take any departmentalization from divisional departmentalization. If some of your product line is important, have a department for that product line. If some of your function is important, say for example your advertisement function is very important and you want to take care of advertisement function highly, then have a department for advertising function. If your accounting function is important, have a department for finance function. If one of your product two-wheeler is important, then have a department for two-wheelers. You can grab any type of department from functional or divisional departmentalization and mix and match in hybrid type of departmentalization. It is a form of departmentalization that adopts part of both functional and divisional structure at the same level of management. Okay, so a hybrid organizational structure will benefit from both functional as well as divisional departmentalization. Say for example, I have the president, below him there can be some functional departments like HR department, marketing department. Also below the president himself we can be having some divisional departments. Like for example, say refrigerators are an important product, so a department taking care of refrigerators, a vice president for CCTV, washing machine, again some in the functional departments like vice president for finance, vice president for materials, etc. Here students, you can take up the best of both type of departmentalizations and cater to whatever the needs are in the organization. As usual, let us talk about the advantages and disadvantages of hybrid departmentalization. The first advantage is alignment of corporate and divisional goals. Here, as I already told you, particular divisions can be given importance along with importance to different functions which are necessary for corporate profits. So corporates and divisions are given equal importance here. Secondly, this departmentalization gives functional expertise and efficiency together. Thirdly, there is high level of adaptability and flexibility because you can make the divisions, you can make the departments as and how you require. What can be more flexible than this? Let us talk about the disadvantages. There can be conflicts between corporate departments and divisional units. There can be conflicts between different departments which are specifically focusing on specific products and the functional departments which are actually focusing on overall goals of the corporate. This might lead to problems in the organization. Secondly, there is very excessive administrative overhead, as there is no proper or uniform structure in the organization. Administrative overhead would be very high. Thirdly, there is slow response to exceptional situations. If there is some calamities or things do not go as per the plan, then responding to problems or such exceptional or unplanned situation would be very difficult. Let us move forward and talk about matrix departmentalization. A matrix organizational structure in a company again combines functional and divisional departmentalization. Here, each person would be having two reporting heads. One is a functional reporting head and one is a divisional reporting head. This is a structure in which the supporting relationships are set up as a grid or a matrix rather than an organizational hierarchy. Instead of identifying someone is below this person, this structure is represented as a grid and each and every employee will be having two heads. Let us see the example here, students. Here each and every employee is having two heads. One is the functional head and one is a divisional head. The functional heads can be the different heads in maybe sales department, marketing department, research department, etc. And the project heads or the divisional heads are different people taking care of different projects. This is a product type of departmentalization. Project can be considered as a product. So for different projects, we have different heads and each and every employee here would be under two heads. Say for example, our cost accountant for project A is under two heads. One is the financial head and second is the head who is looking for the entire project A. Specifically in matrix departmentalization, we are going beyond the unity of command and we have two heads for each and every employee in the organization. Let us move further and talk about the different advantages and disadvantages of matrix departmentalization. First advantage, it improves communication amongst the people of the organization. Secondly, it allows individuals to utilize their skills into variety of concerns. They can take out their skills in different departments, both functional as well as divisional. Thirdly, it reduces costs and improves coordination. It improves coordination, and because a single person is applicable to two persons instead of a hybrid department where I need a different finance department and a different department for project A, these both departments are combined in a matrix structure and thus it reduces cost with improvement in coordination. Moreover, there is greater motivation in this type of structure amongst the team members. Also, it encourages cross-fertilization of ideas and departments. Here, all the people can put out their initiatives, can give out new ideas, can be more innovative in such type of structure. Lastly, it is a good way of sharing resources amongst departments. Both the functional and divisional departments can share resources as they both are one right now. This does have some disadvantages. Of course, there are divided loyalties as there are more than one bosses. Each and every employee will not be equally loyal to both the department heads and they might be loyal to the wrong one, which might not sufficiently fulfill the organizational goals. Secondly, there may not be a clear line of accountability for different project teams. Who is responsible if project A fails? The project head or the functional heads? There is no clear line of responsibility. That is the problem. It is difficult to coordinate in such type of organizations. Also, it takes time for matrix team members to get used to working in such type of environment.
because this type of organization structure is rare, and that is why it takes time. Also, it is very complex. So, employees need time to settle into this type of organizational structure. Lastly, team members may neglect their functional responsibilities. In giving too much emphasis on the divisional responsibilities, they might neglect their functional responsibilities. That was all about the organizational structures based on departments. Let us talk about organizational structures based on span of control. What is meant by span of control? It means the number of subordinates that can be managed effectively and efficiently by a superior in an organization. For example, in this particular diagram, the manager is having a span of control of 7. This manager can effectively and efficiently manage 7 subordinates. Let us look forward towards the organizational structure based on span of control. The first type of organizational structure is narrow or tall span of control. Narrow span of control means a single manager or supervisors overvises low number of subordinates. Here the head supervises only 2 people. So number of people being taken care of is very low. What are the advantages and disadvantages of such type of organizational structure? Firstly, there is a close supervisory control. If I have to manage only 2 people, it will be very easy and I can closely monitor them. I can strictly look upon each and every action of these 2 people, and that is why it enforces more control. Secondly, it is more authorized structure. Here it is more authoritative structure as more commands can be given to these people. Thirdly, in the tall structure, the subordinates are always accountable to the supervisors and they need to constantly update their supervisors. Because supervisors have close control over them, there is high possibility of discipline in such type of structure. Lastly, this structure enhances the control of the top regulation over the organization. This is more centralized type of organization, if you already got the point. Let us talk about the disadvantages here. Here, employees are less motivated within the structure because they feel that they cannot freely work or that they cannot work creatively enough because there is very close control and direct orders from the superiors. It is difficult for the employees to be motivated in such type of organization. Secondly, here verdict making is very slow. Thirdly, the tall structure creates communication barriers between the upper and lower management. Okay, this structure creates a barrier because the topmost level has very high number of levels to travel to the lowermost level. As it is a tall structure, the highest authority will have to surpass through many levels to reach to lower authority, and that is why there is very low communication. Lastly, very less benefits and rewards are given to people in tall organization because people are never satisfied with the employees in such type of organization as there is very close control. Next type of organizational structure is wide or flat organizational structure. The organization having wide or flat span of control. In this wide span of control, a single manager oversees a large number of subordinates. This is quite useful in smaller organization. Taller structure is possible only in larger organizations. This is possible in smaller organization. Usually there is just one leader and many subordinates reporting to that person. This is wide organizational structure. Let us talk about the advantages and disadvantages here. The first advantage, of course, it is less costly, more levels, more payment, more salary. Less levels, here if you observe closely, everyone at this level is equally paid. There we were having different levels. As you go to the next level, you need to increase the salary. So, tall structure is costlier, but wide structure is less costly. Secondly, here it is quick decision making because you just have to ask one person who is in the higher authority. You do not have to pass on through different levels. for decision making. Thirdly, communication is very clearly possible and it is quite fast. Moreover, subordinates are free from strict supervision. As one person has to manage many subordinates, he will not closely manage each one of them, and that is why supervision is quite lenient. So that is good news for subordinates, isn't it? Moreover, superiors may not be over dominating. There is a possibility that superiors are too dominating. Here it is not the case. There is greater communication. We already talked about that. Also, there is better team spirit because more number of people are working under the manager. So all of them work as a team. Moreover, there is less bureaucracy. There is less bureaucracy because a single decision making is quite given to many people. A single person cannot take up decisions for so many people. That is why there is less possibility of bureaucracy. There are some disadvantages too. Firstly, there is a very loose control. This is quite a decentralized type of organization. Secondly, there is no discipline. Moreover, close and informal relation may not be possible. If I am managing only 2 people, I will be having very close relation with both of them. But if I am managing 10 people, then it is very difficult to have a close relation with each one of them. So it is not possible in wide span of control. Moreover, the quality of performance may be bad. Because the supervisor cannot closely supervise each one of them, the performance might be suffering. Also, in such type of organization, lack of supervision may hinder the growth of organization. Also, this structure is limited to small organization. As the organization grows, you need to grow your hierarchy. Otherwise, it will become difficult to manage as number of employees increase. Lastly, the lack of layers may reduce opportunity. Here, there are only 1 or 2 layers to which you can be promoted. So, you have very less opportunities to earn higher salary or to get promoted compared to a tall structure. Both have their own advantages and disadvantages. Depending on the type of organization you are working, you will face any such type of an organization structure. If you are opening an organization, think about the type of product, think about the creativity you want from your employees, etc. Decide which organization structure you want. Until then, thank you so much for such patiently listening to me. Until next time, bye-bye.